I'd like to look at Henry's crime as a romance, comedy, a little drama, and a story about changing your life, and by extension changing the lives of others. I play a toll booth operator who's married, and in their relationship, my wife is like, "Isn't it time for kids?" And Henry's not quite ready for that, and he kind of opts out. There's a knock on his door, and he ends up getting into this car that takes him to a bank where his buddies end up robbing a bank. But I'm the only one who gets caught. So I decide to go to jail rather than go home. And I meet James Caan, who kind of mentors me. We find out that I'm a man without a dream. And so I come out of jail and decide to rob the bank I already went to jail for robbing. And in the course of that, James Caan comes out of jail to help me. We find out that there's a tunnel, there's a bank, and there's a theater. And the entrance to the tunnel is in the theater. And Vera Farmiga is playing an actress in The Cherry Orchard. Or actually, she's an actress playing Madame Renevsky in The Cherry Orchard. And through circumstances, I end up having to play Lepakin in The Cherry Orchard to rob the bank.
Henry's quite an ordinary guy. He lives quite a boring life initially, and he spends some time inside. How do you, as a Hollywood actor and therefore a man with quite an extraordinary life, prepare for a role like that?
Henry, well, I went to, I did some physical research, just went to some toll booths out there in New York and Buffalo, which were the locations. Spoke to some people about what their life was like. And, just trying to get into some of the, hopes, dreams, by meeting some people who live the job. Don't necessarily mean that you find your character, but there might be something, Like the guy was telling me, one of the people I met was just like how he would watch people going somewhere, and after a while he had this like, "But I'm not going anywhere," And that was a line that kind of stuck to me, because I could relate to that. And your imagination, So you try and cull some things from the script, if you have to, from research and the imagination. What are you doing after rehearsal?
What? What was your story, Henry?
Just got out of prison.
Wow.
There's a tunnel. Runs from the bank to the theater.
You're gonna rob the bank that you already went to jail for robbing?
Yeah.
You've also said in an interview that Henry, this everyman character who wants to change his life but doesn't know how, this is something that you relate to. What do you mean by that?
I don't know, I think there's always things where we try and figure, we have hopes and dreams, and just how do we figure it out? How do we realize them, or how do we deal with getting them or not getting them? It doesn't necessarily have to be as big as a dream. It could be something much smaller and simpler, but somehow there's some fundamental aspects to it that could be connected. Does it make any sense? Like in the sense of, yeah.
Henry also tries his hand at theatre during the movie. We all know you as a big blockbuster movie guy, but would you ever think of doing an Ethan Hawke and taking to the stage at some point instead?
I'm not as, I don't think as extensive as he has. He's fantastic. But I haven't, I'd like to do some theater, but I haven't done any for like 14 years.
You wouldn't think about doing that if the right offer came up?
Not like he has, but it would be nice to get back up there. Just have to find the right play.
You also worked with James Caan on the movie, who was in The Godfather. What was that like?
It's cool to be able to work with the people that you respect and have looked up to, and to be in that moment where you're acting with them. It's, it's so surprising, but it's also, it's so cool,
And if you could pick one crime in the world to commit and get away with, what would it be and why?
robbing banks somehow doesn't seem to be like a bad crime, which is weird, but it is. But it just seems like it's not. It's like the only benevolent crime. And I don't know why. It's like you're stealing other people's money, but somehow because it's in a bank, it seems. I don't know. I don't have one. Robbing a bank sounds like the most fun, though, doesn't it? I'm gonna pick a bank.